So David really didn't know a stranger growing up. He was very talkative, loved everybody, as he grew older, he would do anything for anybody. He would literally give the shirt off his back if somebody needed it. So his circle of friends, they in high school, they were great kids. And then, as the substance use disorder progressed, those friends went away, and then the new ones that I never got to meet came around. So yeah, he loved kayaking, whitewater kayaking, and music. His senior year in high school, he was the only high schooler in Kentucky to be invited to the U.S. Army All-American Marching Band. So they got to go to the Alamo Dome in Texas that year. And then after his senior year, he got his wisdom teeth removed the summer right before college. So that's when he was overprescribed Percocet. And that's where his disease really kicked in. The whole way that night unfolded, I got a call a little bit before midnight from David's employer saying he had overdosed and I needed to get to Lexington, and that was a year after his first overdose. So when I got that call, I just thought, well, he's in the emergency room again, and man, I was upset. So I remember getting in the car, driving towards Lexington. It was about 15 minutes after I got down the road a little bit that his employer called back and said that he passed away. So, I don't remember the rest of the drive to Lexington that night until I pulled up and saw, the white van with no windows with coroner in blue lettering on the back. So that just totally upended everything in my life. I didn't know what I was going to do at that point. Except I dove really hard into substance use disorder to see where I could have done something different. So kind of educated myself. I started a nonprofit in September of that year and just decided to get the story out, trying to find, a solution to a problem. As a father, that was, we're kind of hardwired for that. So that was tough. But, I guess the stigma that lived within me was the hardest part. The shame, the sadness, you're scared, you're embarrassed. When I found out David was using opioids, I was super surprised. I think a lot of parents look back in their childhood, and I remember thinking, well, I went to college, I did some, plenty of drugs and drank plenty of alcohol, and it didn't affect me. So, I looked at it as hopefully this is just a phase. But, these aren't the same drugs as, a lot of parents may have experimented with back in their day. It's totally different landscape. And with the addition of fentanyl, it's just so deadly. The stigma in 2017 when he passed was pretty thick. And I guess it affected at the time how I looked at David. It wasn't until I educated myself that I realized it's not a parental failure or a moral failure, it's a brain disease. So yeah, of course, the stigma definitely didn't help in David's case. As I look back, I could have done so many things differently. That, of course I wish I could change, but, I realize I can't. So I decided to share my story, to get rid of the stigma. It's still hanging around. It's still keeping families from helping their loved ones, friends. I hear so many stories of, family members just going, I'm done. And I just have to remind them that, you might be done, but the struggle is still there. You've got to be there to support, them in recovery, no matter where they are. I guess the best way other people can help reduce the stigma in the community, show some empathy and compassion for those struggling with substance use disorder. Every person with substance use disorder has a, mother, father, kids, parents that love them. So offering food, offering, a jacket, offering a blanket, is only going to help. And, those workplace conversations where, some people still make jokes about people with substance use disorder, you got to cut them off, We can't keep the stigma going by, doing the things we always have done.